Task 1 of the pilot project is to create a fact file. So for this first task, you're going to be carrying out research about pirates, and then you are going to be organising it together into a fact file. Now, you are going to need to use different sources to find your information. It says here that you can use the internet and books from the library to find your facts. If you just use internet sources, that's all right. You are at home at the moment, that's okay. But if you have got any access to books, if there are any books in the house, or if you're able to get any ebooks, then that's good as well. Sometimes it can actually be easier to find good information from books. Remember, when you are going online to find out information, try and make sure that you're finding information that is reliable. Look for trusted sources. And if you're not sure about how to do that, then send your teacher a message. When you've got your information, you're going to gather it together under similar subheadings. So you'll need to think about what kind of topics you want to cover. Now, this is where your own choice and your own enjoyment comes in. It's up to you what kind of topics you want to think about, so long as it's something to do with pirates. So some possible headings include famous pirates, people like Blackbeard, for example, movie representations of pirates. So if you wanted to look up how different films have presented pirates in different ways, you could do that. Ship life, you might want to find out about what day-to-day life in a pirate ship would be like. Pirate phrases or songs, you could try and find out a little bit about pirate language. Modern day pirates. Piracy actually is something that still goes on in the world, and it's maybe sometimes a bit less exciting than the films make it seem, but you could have a little look at that. And where in the world you might find pirates, either now or in the past. You don't have to cover all of these. Have a think about which topics would be most interesting to you. Think about how you would group them together, and think about what kind of places you can go to find out the information that you will need. It's very important when you're doing this that you understand how to use the information that you find in your sources. You'll want to keep notes as you're going along of the information that you think is the most important or interesting. When it comes time to put it in your project, however, though, you must make sure that you don't simply copy it out exactly. If you write something in a project that is taken word for word from a website or article, this is called plagiarism, and that is not allowed. To avoid this, there are two things you can do. You can quote from the source. That means take a short part of the source, only a short part, and put it into quotation marks. And then you can include that as part of your project, but this should only be a small part of your fact file. Otherwise, the rest of the information should be changed into your own words. Now, you've already had practice in English this year about putting things into your own words and including quotes and marking them with speech marks. So this shouldn't be new to you. Let's have a look at some examples though. At the top here, we have some information from Wikipedia. Let's imagine that you had looked up Wikipedia and found this information about pirates, and that the part in red was what you wanted to include in your fact file. Piracy is typically an act of robbery or criminal violence at sea. The term can include acts committed on land, in the air, or in other major bodies of water, or on a shore. It does not normally include crimes committed against persons travelling on the same vessel as the perpetrator. For example, one passenger stealing from others in the same vessel. So you can see that this person has highlighted in red the parts they want to include in their fact file. Now, here's an example of someone who's taken that information and then plagiarised it. My project is about pirates. Piracy is typically an act of robbery or criminal violence at sea. This can include acts committed on land, in the air, or in water or on land. You can see that the parts in red have been copied out exactly from the passage from Wikipedia, and they haven't been changed at all. So this is plagiarism, and that's cheating. Let's look at the next example. This person has taken the information from Wikipedia, but they have put it all into their own words. My project is about pirates. During my research, I have learned that pirates are criminals. They often commit their crimes at sea. It is only considered piracy if the criminal act is carried out on another person on a different ship. If you robbed someone on your own pirate ship, this would not be considered piracy. So you can see there from what I've just read out that this person has included the same information, but they have changed the words around. So they haven't copied the wording. And that's a very good way of doing your fact file. Finally, you do have an option of also including short quotes from your source. So if there are short parts that you do want to keep, then you can do that. Let's have a look. My project is about pirates. According to Wikipedia, and then speech marks are opened, piracy is typically an act of robbery or criminal violence at sea. And here the person has closed their speech marks. From the same source, I found out that piracy does not, speech marks open, normally include crimes committed against persons travelling on the same vessel as the perpetrator, speech marks closed. So if you want to include short quotes from your original source, you can, but keep them short and put them in speech marks. That's similar to when we are doing squares for essays. We keep our quotes fairly short and we put speech marks around them. Remember, whilst the internet is full of great information, many websites can be accessed and edited by the general public. Wikipedia is an example of this type of website. Therefore, the information you find on Wikipedia and similar websites may not be reliable. It's always good when you're looking at websites to find websites that are maybe run by famous companies or people that you might have heard of. For example, the BBC or organisations like this. That information is more likely to be reliable. Alright, when you're ready, you can move on to task 3. That's covered in the next video. And if you have any questions, then drop your teacher a question on Edmodo.